the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad told the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan when he was trying to teach him a point where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan delivered a broadcast, and he was beating heavily up on Caucasians and the wickedness that history has shown that they have done. But the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad called him. You found it? The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad called him and told him, brother, I wish you would stop throwing trash in a well that I'm trying to get a drink of water out of, right? And he just hung up the phone. I want to use that analogy and relate it to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Because there are some, in their desire to become internet sensations, to attract a following where they can get thousands or even hundred thousands of views, so then they can monetize their videos so that they can make money. That some of them are just reaching for things that has nothing to do with truth and is not based upon real scholarship. But because they're able to get attention and you get people to make all these comments, in their minds they think that what they're saying is right? And they are allowing this attention to go to their head, but they're doing great damage as it relates to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They're not doing damage to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but they are doing damage to the minds of our people who could really have their life changed overnight if they accepted the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So they're throwing trash in a well, not that we think. They're not throwing trash in a well that we think can help people. No, they're throwing trash in a well that we know for a fact that can transform people and help them change their lives. Ghetto scholarship lacks integrity. And what integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles and moral uprightness. Meaning that if you are a scholar, let's say that you don't like the Nation of Islam, you don't like the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but you find some information that goes against your belief, you would not allow your dislike to cause you to cover up the truth. You will state the truth even though it goes against an idea or a view that you actually had. But when ghetto scholarship is concerned, they push integrity out the window. And they will repeat a lie as if it is the truth. So in my examination of most of these people who call themselves exposing the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I found that many of them lack poor methodologies, and they also lack integrity. And they are willing to outright lie to make it appear that their position is true and correct. Are y'all all right? Yes, sir. And this is the thing. If one has to lie to make their argument appear to be true, then that's an indicator that how weak their argument is. Because truth doesn't need a lie to support it. Truth is truth no matter if it's you telling the truth against 1,000 other people believing in a lie. But if somebody has to lie to make their argument sound as if it is sound and it is based upon fact, that's an indicator that they know that their argument is not based upon actual facts, right? So one of the ghetto scholars showed this picture. And see, an example of ghetto scholarship is that it's shallow and it's lazy research. That ghetto scholars look for anything that appears to support their argument, even if it is false. They don't do deep research. So one of the ghetto scholars posted this picture that you see to your left. You see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan sitting next to two individuals. And he said, look at Minister Farrakhan. Look at how phony he is. He talks about Jewish people and exposing Jewish people, but here he's sitting with Jewish people. And when I first heard it, I said, well, maybe I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he just, that's a slip of the tongue. Maybe he just made a mistake. But as I kept watching the video, he said it several times. But if you just do a basic Google search, you see the picture in the back. Is that an Israeli flag? No. That's the flag from Iran. You see the two individuals at the man to the minister's far left? He's the former Iranian president. But here this dude is on YouTube telling people, watch me work. I'm teaching y'all. I'm giving y'all what they don't want to tell y'all. But here, what you're presenting to people is a lie. That's an example of ghetto scholarship. Lazy research. Here's another part. Ghetto scholarship, they make assumptions and accusations based upon their own imagination. They don't find anything to back what they're saying. They just put two things together, and if it seems like it fits, oh, that's the truth. So here you see these images are examples of people who are Masons in this secret society where they have their own secret handshakes, they have their own secret hand gestures, right? So these ghetto scholars have taken this knowledge and then they go and get images of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaching, and because he used hand gestures, they scan the video to find one hand gesture that reflects that, and they say, see, he's a Mason. And he's being paid by them to lead black people in this secret effort to cause turmoil between blacks and whites. And if you watch any person that speaks, one of the attributes of a good speaker is that they use effective hand gestures. Has nothing to do with masonry. So this ghetto scholar shows this picture of Minister Farrakhan with his finger up, shows this picture with Donald Trump with his finger up, and says, see, that's the Mason symbol.
Silly.
You don't know what they're telling you. They're sending these symbols out to people who know what they're talking about. And what's so sad is that you see people like, teach, man. You exposing them. But this is how this looks to somebody who has knowledge, who has just common sense to be able to say, man, everybody do that. In fact, when you watch the video of this ghetto scholar, he makes the same hand gestures. Touching his chest, pointing fingers. But he lacks integrity. And that's why Allah in the Quran says, don't allow your hatred of a people to cause you to act unjustly.
Right.
Now, if I was to use their ghetto scholarship, then I could say that Dr. Khaled was a Crip. Because look at Dr. Khaled. Look, he making a seat. He a Crip. That's how you all laugh. That's how people look at them. Like, man, you serious? You gonna say that this man is a part of some secret society because he pointed his finger? Then I can say Michael Jackson was a Crip. He throwing up too. This is how ghetto scholars interpret stuff, using their imagination. Show me somebody that says Michael Jackson, but if you had critical thinking, we would say, show me somebody that says Michael Jackson was a Crip. Right. Show me his gang that he banged with. What was the set? How did he begin to be a Crip and his daddy was Joe Jackson, who had him under constant observation? See, that's what a critical thinker would do. Right. But if we're just young and dumb and just like to sit in front of the internet, ooh, ah. It's equivalent to somebody taking a picture of Santa Claus and say, man, look at the red and white in Santa Claus, and look at the red and white in the Nation of Islam flag. They're behind Christmas. They created Christmas. If you saw that, if you had any sense, you would have to say, this person, and I gotta say it just to be joking, this person must have went to school on a small yellow bus. Oh. Right?
With the helmet on.
Like, yo, just because of the same colors? So if all of that, what they're saying is pointing your finger makes you a Mason, then I think, is Khaled giving a Masonic symbol when he was on Donahue? They will say no, but how come it's no when it talks about Khaled, but it's yes, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as they say, is in the same Masonic order as Donald Trump? Isn't that stupid? It's ghetto scholarship. no critical thinking, right? Then, another aspect of ghetto scholarship is they make repeated large claims that have no supporting evidence. And they fail to scrutinize what they point to or what they believe as evidence. They'll make something up as if like the Nation of Islam was behind the levees breaking in Katrina. And they pick up one book that just has Katrina on the title and say, that's what it says. And they never go and analyze and examine their sources to see if this is factual. So one of the ghetto scholars, he said that the Nation of Islam, just the statement is stupid. The Nation of Islam is an extension of the Ku Klux Klan and was established to create turmoil against the races. I'm like, what you smoking? Synthetic marijuana, what, crack? And so then, to give some, what they believe to be validity to their beliefs, they find something that they feel that they can use to support it. So one of them went to go and find some statement by Malcolm X talking about a meeting that took place in Georgia between some representatives of the Nation of Islam and some members of the KKK. But then they take this historical fact, and what ghetto scholars do is that they give their interpretation, they give their meaning of what happened. This is why they met, right? Then what the ghetto scholar does too, and I'm going to explain, we're going to bust up all of this, they found a manual that the KKK uses that talks about all of their rules and their instructions, and the KKK called the book Quran. And he said, look, Quran, it's the same book. They leading y'all to the KKK. And I'm like, yo. So then, through their false beliefs, they come up with false justifications to say we're connected. And then they go so far to say this. How I say they take facts and they give it their interpretation. They say, how is it that the government has destroyed every black organization and how is Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam still here? They're still here because they're working with the white man. That's right. And I'm like, yo. But it's as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, is that they come to that conclusion because you have more faith in the power of white folks than the power of God. Right? Why don't you say the reason why they're still alive and why they have not been destroyed like other organizations is because a higher power is backing them. But instead of saying that, they say, give the white man, who they say is so evil and so weak, they say he's only alive because white folks have allowed him to. Which really shows how they really feel about Caucasians. You believe that they are God. That's right. Can't see that. Instead of, then the ghetto scholar, I was watching this, giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, well, maybe he's making a mistake. The ghetto scholar says that the Quran was put together in 1919. I was like, well, maybe he's making a mistake. And he said several times, 1919. Then what was Prophet Muhammad and all of them reading back then? Yes, sir. You know, from 1919 into this, they say this. Simple Google search. The origins of the Quran, the revelation of to the holy book. Around AD 650, that's 650 years after the death of Christ, the Caliph Uthman, who himself has been a close associate of Prophet Muhammad, had established an official version of the Quran. In 650 AD, that's 269 years before 1919. Like, how you don't understand this? Come on. Right? Then to go further, it's simple to bust it up. Keith Ellison. Here, he swore in on the Quran. Go ahead. And then, look what it says. He swore in on Thomas Jefferson's Quran. Wow. So if the Quran was not written until 1919, then what book did Thomas Jefferson have? Quran. Keith Ellison made history Thursday, becoming the first Muslim of Congress and punctuating the occasion by taking a ceremonial oath with a Quran owned by Thomas Jefferson. The Quran was acquired by the Congressional Library in 1815, 104 years before 1919. Like, what you reading? Ghetto scholarship, right? Is this? They found this picture. And it's this man that's supposed to be a member of the KKK, and you see under there say that this is a star and a crescent. And they say, see, the original costume or uniform of the Klan was this. That's what they say. And according to this document, they say the original Klan costume in 1890. The costume was found in Pulaski, Tennessee. That's where the Klan actually began. But this is where critical thinking has to start. You just don't go off the first thing you find. Let me see if there are other people that can verify this.
Right. That's right.
And you can find nothing outside of this postcard where somebody wrote on the bottom the original Ku Klux Klan costume. You find nothing else saying that the Klan wore red in their early beginnings. But all of the information out there shows that the Klan wore white in the beginning. So look at some of their early uniforms. This is a picture of the KKK in the 1870s in North Carolina, right? 20 years before this, 1890. Look at them. Do you see any star and crescent on their shirts? Then you go further. You got that? To the left. This is in 1868. Look at their uniforms. Then you go further, 1871, look at their uniforms. So if you have all of these pre-images of the Klan uniform, how could this be the original uniform when we have drawings and pictures of their original uniforms and it looks nothing like that? Right?
Yes, sir. Right. Plain and simple.
Simple, right? So this will cause one to claim that what they say is the original uniform, it couldn't have been the original uniform. Then we go here. This is from a book, a dissertation. Source, whip, pistol, and hood. Listen to what the guy says. He says the following. Though Klansmen at the time wore both red and white robes, depending on local preferences, early historians of the Klan took an extra effort to assert that red robes were only worn by groups of criminals who attempted to emulate the Klan but were bogus. So they were saying that the ones who wore red, those were the ones who the Klan, they felt that they were bogus. They're fake. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
This is a lot of information, but we got to get this,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Then he goes further. The author is in red. The author of One Early History declared that the original Klan only wore white robes because it was a symbol of purity. He said that the original Klan only wore what? White. And you can believe they only wore white because they believed that white was the best.
Yes, sir. Right.
Then you go further. Here's another source where the person talks about how she wrote, he's quoting another historian. The original Klan, which was organized to protect the homes and liberties of the South, wore what color robes? White robes. Then he goes further. He said that those who wore, he says, the symbol of purity. In contrast, red, always the badge of bloodshed, anarchy and disorder, was the most fitting for the bogus Klan, the fake ones, right?
Yes, sir.
But even if somebody wants to go by that picture and say they have a star and a crescent on it, but the crescent is put downward.
Yes, sir.
It's downward. You never see any of our crescents facing downward.
That's right.
So you can't connect that. So if that's the case, then let's look at this. This is the Turkish flag in 1844. Were they Klansmen?
Come on.
If they had the flag in 1844, like 21 some years before the Klan, so was the Klan back there in Turkey? Then let's go even further. They found a coin with a star and a crescent on it in 300 BC, 300 years before Christ. So I guess the Klan was back there too. Using their logic, right?
Yes, sir.
But that's ghetto scholarship.